I brought this up before, but I read a fascinating article in Psychology Today back in, I believe, don't quote me on the issue of being August of 2013, but I'm pretty sure the time frame which I can remember that I read this article, and it was in Psychology Today, and they were very anti-metaphysical, spiritual kind of shit, nothing about God or anything like that. It was all medicine, but they felt the need to mention this story because they found something quite amazing in the story, and they kind of even used it as a excuse for these phenomenon. Now, at the time, we have the rise of the indigos, which have been kept hush hush since then, and a lot of people, got knocked out and fell back asleep in the global reset of 2015. But what they said was they basically wanted to do a research project. This was done in England, and what they did was they went out and got, I don't remember the amount, but it was like 100 or up to 1,000 people who had not previously said that they thought they were gifted or that they were psychic or anything like that, because as everyone knows it's not a gift, everyone can do it. But they decided to do a Ghostbusters test with all these people. Well, they basically showed them things or asked them questions that they could not know the answers to, and they wanted to see, since these people didn't know what the tests were about, and since none of them claimed to be psychic or have any kind of clairvoyance, did any of them do better than the rest of the group? And they had even predetermined what would determine what doing better would mean. And I don't remember the exact numbers. I really wish I had the exact article for you, but I promise you it was in 2013, and it was around the end of summer, August issue. I bought it at the store. And they were talking about how, in the medical industry, when you go in and you see your doctor, and you say, hey, by the way, doctor, I haven't seen you in 2 years. Say hi to your wife, Deborah, and you're going to buy a new car next week. That's great. And by the way, you're going to have a child. Her name's going to be Tabitha. And that's all right. Even the doctor, he won't go there. He can't. You know what I'm saying? You can blow them away, but they just won't do it. So they put down that you're hyper intuitive. The one I like the most, because at least they're recognizing it, is the military. They call it, level 4 situational awareness. And in my opinion, that comes closest to what the scientific community wants to label it as than anything. And that is that basically you're made aware of things that will let you have the puzzle pieces to put together a picture other people can't put together. And so that you get that famous response of, how the fuck did you know that? Because that's the second most common question, or thing said to me. The first most common is, what the fuck makes you think you know that? Second most popular is, how the fuck did you know that? Actually, is it the other way around? Either way. They figured that at least out of these 25 questions, that out of this group of 100 people, and they were all races, ethnicities, everything, that people would probably get 2 or 3 right out of 25, meaning that they, that's what they had discovered from people who knew nothing about these things. Like, is there a circle behind this piece of paper? And some of them were written questions, like, can you give us the breakdown of argon in chemistry? I don't know exactly how they did it, but they were pretty confident these people should not know and would not know. In other words, they would have to tap into what they perceived as another form of intelligence. They were looking at it from a medical point of view, but they emphasized in the beginning, this is what I have to give them credit for. We're going to tell you, the story that happened at the University of England, but we do not believe in psychic phenomenon. We're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. So anyways, it turns out that, like most people, got none of the answers correctly. None of them. So this idea of if they get 3 correct, that's average, and like if they get more than 5 correct or even 10, then they must have some sort of who knows, just some sort of really powerful mind that is able to source out somehow or another, scientifically of course, the answers to these questions. We've all kind of done this in Jeopardy. How did you know the final Jeopardy question? And you didn't know the answer. You guessed right. I knew that was going to happen. No, you thought of 100 different scenarios because you were dwelling on the problem. And one of those scenarios was almost exactly like what happened. So you say, dude, I fucking knew that was going to happen, dude. But you didn't really know that was going to happen, or else you wouldn't let it happen. Trust me. You should, but you wouldn't have let it happen. Instinct will kick in. The future can be foreseen, but freedom of action must be given, as they told me. So they had people on these tests that, not a lot of them, but they were all different looking. All different religions, some were atheists, some actually were very Catholic, some were very Jewish, some were very black, some very Latino. A very balanced but very unbalanced mix, but a very rare few who got 15 to 20 of them right. Something like that. An amazing amount. And the doctor said, this is insane. So they wanted to study. They could not find any difference. And none of these people had ever claimed on having any kind of psychic power or anything like that. So they looked at them very closely, and they wanted to know, what is it that these people all have in common? Is it the food that they're eating? Is it alcohol? Is it drug? What is it? Well, close. They were all considered in their circle of friends. In fact, they were all considered in the group to be the crazy ones. They were all free spirits. They were all snowboarders. They were all, yes, drug users or had used drugs. They were motocross, race car drivers. All of them had some element about them that within their group of friends or within society in general, they would be labeled crazy. So think about that. Think about that, because that makes it twice as hard to convince someone, which we should all know. When the fact of the matter is, the people that are perceived as crazy are the ones that are going to have the answer, because they will go to that other side. Or shit, I mean, my craziness, because of something totally different, gives me 4 near deaths. Am I saying that because I take drugs, I'm psychic? No. But then I had a problem with my pancreas, and I had a near death. And people who have near deaths, I mean, look at these women who some entity, whatever alien invasion we had, got a hold of them. They went and got pregnant. God knows, no, it's not alien baby. It could be angel baby. I don't know how God works. He's a lot bigger than us. But after they came out of that, they have gifts. That was in the movie The Exorcist too, which that has to be accurate. Once you've gone through an experience like that, like even the movie Poltergeist, if you go through some powerful shit that is not normal, if you're an experiencer, what is that? An experiencer is something you cannot put into words. You saw something that literally, there really is no reference to. And get ready, because a lot of that's going to start happening. It's happening as we speak. This is not a movie. This is not a joke.